from Low Life Galleries, it's Waterloo Conversations with your host, Dave DeSimone. His guest tonight is Jeff Deasy.
Hello and welcome to Waterloo Conversation. Jeff, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure.
All right, now I got the cheesy stuff out of the way. It turns out that for about a year and a half, I see you walking around, but I can't place you. And I sort of know some guy named Jeff. And I'm like, oh, and I was like, oh, you know Jeff. And Heather's like, you know Jeff Deasy. And I'm like, I don't know if I know him or not. And then you're walking your dogs, this was maybe 2 months ago, and all of a sudden I stop and I'm like, were you in another band before? And you were like, Coin Monster. So tell us a little bit about Coin Monster and what's the difference musically for what you're doing right now with not just one band, but what, two?
Two bands.
Living Stereo, yes. And Mystery of Two.
Yes. Well, Coin Monster was a band that I was in, I sang for in Youngstown, Ohio.
With much longer hair.
Much longer hair, many years ago. And I didn't even, when we had that conversation, I didn't even realize that you were from down there. Yeah, that's a long time ago. And those guys, as far as I know, are still recording stuff. I just sang for the band.
Right.
And that was...
Now tell me how that differs from at least the two bands you're in currently.
Well, for one thing, I was just singing in that band. I play bass in both the bands that I'm in now. But that was many years ago, and that was a really heavy band, more on the metal tip, and like Living Stereo was more on garage rock, 60s psych kind of feel to it, you know, a little bit of the Who, a little bit of the Jam, a little bit of the Damned, a little bit of the Clash in there, and Mystery of Two is more on the new wave, post-punk, I guess is what the kids are calling it nowadays.
I could see that.
You know, and that's influenced by like Talking Heads, Television, Peru.
So do you approach writing music and lyrics for both styles differently?
Well, actually, both. I don't write any lyrics for either band.
No, but the music.
Music, we just write it. I mean, we don't really think of anything that we're trying to do. We just kind of write the music and it comes across. Like all the comparisons that I mentioned, at least, especially for Mystery of Two, they're just things that people have said we sound like. And
do you and your bandmates have similar? You have somewhat distinct genres that you're drawing upon.
Yeah. So
there has to be some common ground and familiarity musically with everybody in the band. There has to be some point of reference where somebody goes, I got it. I know exactly
there
what
is
you're
some common ground, but there's a lot of stuff that the other guys listen to that I really don't, not necessarily don't like, but it's just something I don't listen to. You know, I'm older than most everybody I play with.
Take us in the recording studio and walk us through the crafting of any one of your songs.
So like
is it organic? I mean, is somebody taking right out a bass line and then all of a sudden, your drummer?
Well, it's different from both bands. Like with Mystery of Two, we have the studio, Existential Studio, right a couple doors down, and that's Ryan from the band. He runs that studio, so it's great because we have access to a whole studio where we can record practices and stuff, and it makes the process a lot easier. There's nothing, we just kind of play. Somebody will come in with an idea and we mess around with it, or we just come up with something. You know, the recording process, we record it live. Both bands, we record it straight up live, you know, to keep the energy there. We don't record like drums and bass and then add something onto it. We record it as live as we can and then just add everything on top of it.
Nice.
You know, to give it the good live feel. Because a lot of bands go in the studio and it probably works for them, but they'll record the drums, maybe drums and bass, then they'll record a guitar line, then they'll throw in another guitar line, then they'll add something else on, and we really try to keep everybody playing in the same room at the same time, because that's...
So when you hit something and you really nail it, like how do you know? it just feels right, or?
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't know until 2 weeks later. Sometimes instantly you're like, that's awesome, that's great. And sometimes it's like something you realize a few weeks later, listening back to something, and you're like, it's...
Do you ever have, like a melody or something in your head that you're just absolutely, before the group gets together, you bring to the table and say, this is something I've been kicking around, or is it just everybody starts playing and then it morphs into something?
No, I've had
both.
Definitely had like ideas that I've carried around for years, and actually took me a few bands to actually get certain pieces out there, but it just doesn't work with certain players. But a lot of stuff just does happen spontaneously. That's how I like it.
How did you get into playing bass?
I started really young. I wanted to play guitar, and I got a guitar, and there were a couple of my friends that were a lot better at me on guitar.
Hey everybody, Jacob Lang just walked into the
that was
studio.
The Jacob?
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right.
You want to join us on the couch?
Oh, okay.
We're talking a little bit about how Jeff started to get into bass playing.
Okay.
So,
but really, it was what?
taking direction from our camera. And everybody, our cameraman this evening is the fabulous Heather Young from Shopperoonie and other places.
Camera woman.
Camera woman.
Camera gal.
Yeah, camera gal. So
Jeff, you're talking about all your other bands. What about Lives of the Saints?
Lives of the Saints.
Because you got, it was. You guys had like that great energy and symbiosis, if you will. You guys were so great together.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But unfortunately, we got broken up because Matt, the drummer, opened up Melt.
Right.
Which is great because Melt is awesome.
Yeah.
Love Melt.
And if Melt wasn't good, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why the hell did you break up the band? But because he's an amazing drummer, but he's also a really good restaurant.
But when that happened, did you guys ever think of trying to get another drummer, or do you just felt because without him it's not worth it? It's curious, band stuff.
Fish is an awesome drummer, and he
Right.
really. We did have Jeff O drumming before, but he went to New York, so there wasn't that option of getting him back. So.
Right.
Now, at what point did you guys break up with Matt? A couple of years now?
It's been at least 3 years, I think, because I've been in Living Stereo. Matt referred me to Living Stereo, because Matt was actually the first drummer for Living Stereo. Knew Brandon, the singer from Living Stereo. And right after Lives of the Saints broke up, he called me. He's like, "Hey, this band I know needs a drummer. They kind of sound like needs a bass player. They kind of sound like a helicopter." So I'm like, "All right, bring it over." And that's how I joined them.
And were there other bands in between that and Coin Monster?
Oh yeah, there are lots of bands between that.
See, because I kind of lost touch with you.
Coin Monster.
I stayed in Youngstown and moved to Akron, and when I came up here. So there's about an 8 or 9 year period of music from Cleveland I'm unfamiliar with.
Oh, at least for me, I mean, I stopped playing with Coin Monster in '93, and I had many bands between that. Melissa's Green Thumb, which nobody probably knows about, maybe a handful of people. Most of my bands, but a bunch of different people. Yeah, I was in Sounder for a while, American Standard. Lives of the Saints,